BF18, POV GF20 roommates to exes. Context. We met back in 2021 going to school together for our diplomas. I was dating someone else at the time, but we were always friendly at school. I broke it off with that person before graduation, and my now ex was a little flirty at the celebrations, but nothing happened for about a year. So now, we've been living together since November 2022. I didn't want anything to happen because roommate right-pointing arrow relationships can get sticky, but he was romantic and funny, and he pushed me to help myself physically, but not mentally. He started getting irritable over me wearing small amounts of makeup, mascara plus eyebrow pencil, or dressing to fit my form with attention-seeking clothes. I wear sweatpants and the occasional crop top. I wanted to start wearing dresses because I've never wanted to when I was younger, and he also freaked out at anything that was slim fit, or skater style was too short, or YTF is there a slit. So this week's felt off to me. I've been getting really tired of always playing housemaid with cleaning the kitchen, and he no longer buys me anything out unless I pay him back for it. So I've been meaning to have a conversation with him all week, and just so happens the night I finally tried to because he said he was gonna try to leave early from work tomorrow to go and visit his best friend, male, in Alberta who's turning 18. We work at the same place, so if he wants to leave early I would have to as well, given that we take the same vehicle. Regardless, we get home today, I start making food, smoke a bit. He goes to smoke, showers, and then we're both on the couch watching a movie. He smokes halfway through again. He had taken a tolerance break for about a month, maybe 2 from weed, so I had a feeling he was gonna crash. And not to my surprise, he passed out about 3/4 through the movie. Forgot to mention earlier this week I saw on his phone a Snapchat from a girl named Vic. I was confused because it has said, "Vic added you back," meaning he had added her. So I asked him about it because he had me remove all my previous guy friends even if they were in long-standing relationships. He said he didn't know her and pretty much rubbed it off his shoulder. Stuck with me for the whole day, so I asked him again before the gym, "Who's Vic?" And he said again, "Not sure IDK where she came from." I even went in to ask him, but your phone said she added you back, meaning you added her. And he also brushed it off and said, "I'll unadd her if you want," but proceeds to leave before showing me. So I've had a fair bit of alarm bells going off the last 3 days. Tonight when he was passed out I went onto his phone. I'm not proud of it. I actually really hate that I did this. I went into his Snapchat and saw his new best friend was a girl named Suwoo, so I clicked to see her profile and the first thing I see is just nudes. Then I register her username as Vic with her name and initials. So I go through the chats to see they were friends back in 2021 when we were in school together. There were videos of her twerking for him back then, when we weren't dating. But he recently added her back and has been talking and getting nudes, full videos and pictures of this girl. And they've been exchanging songs too in the chats, and this all dates back to August 13th, which is 2 days off from our 8-month. IDK what to do. I found all of this out at 2 a.m. and we work at 8 a.m. and he's supposed to be leaving tomorrow to go celebrate his friend's birthday who's also in the same town as her. I obviously know it's fucking over between us, but I have no idea how the hell to bring this up or go about my day or work tomorrow. Update. So it's his parents' vacation house that they rent out to us for winter and summer because it's by a ski hill. So I woke up to him trying to get into the master bedroom, which I locked last night because he passed out on the couch. He actually texted me saying, "That's not suspicious," regarding the locked door, and I had to try not to laugh. I got up and went to the living room and asked him who his #1 best friend is on Snap. He actually admitted it's a girl from his hometown, to which I then ask why he's talking to her. And then the $1,000,000 question of why have you been exchanging nudes? He said she's only been sending, and I asked how is that any better? He went on to say how sorry he is, and how he hasn't felt right in weeks and a bunch of bullshit. Practically just whining about shit. I go on to tell him how I've been reeling for weeks trying to figure out how to talk to him about how unhappy I've been, and he literally said I've felt the same. Anyways, I've let my dad and brother know what's going on, so they'll come and get me once I've packed everything. I also emailed our work stating I won't be returning for the last 2 weeks of the season and that my BF and I broke up because I found out he was cheating. Maybe shouldn't have put it in the work email, but honestly don't give a fuck. So I'll be taking my uniform this morning to drop it off and leave, and then come and pack and hopefully be done before he's done work at 5. I've never felt this humiliated and used before, and I've had past exes full on go fuck some other bitch. This is just fucked. caught my mom cheating. I share an iCloud account with my mom, and one day, I went on, recently deleted, to retrieve a photo I accidentally trashed, and I came across selfies of her and a man I had never seen before. At the time, she was visiting our home country for about a month, while my father, sister, and I were not. I also found a screenshot of text messages that sounded flirtatious, but this was in our native language, which I'm not fluent in. So I thought maybe I misread the texts and ignored it. A couple of weeks later, I had this intuition to check the recently deleted album, and Lord behold, I found more photos of just my mom and the same man. I told my sister and she agreed that it was suspicious, but we did not have enough evidence, so I decided to wait until she came back. The day after she returned, I checked her phone while she was showering. Her password has been the same for years, so that's how I unlocked the phone. To my absolute horror, I found nudes of my mother, wanted to stab my eyeballs out. I was shocked because my immediate and extended family are religious, and I always thought of my mother as pious because that's her whole persona and how she presents herself. This is the same woman who would not let me and my sister use tampons because it's impure. Meanwhile, homegirl is out here taking nudes for a man who isn't her husband. I also found more text messages with the mystery man and took photos from my cellular device of her phone screen with the texts on full display, and I temporarily recovered the nudes and airdropped them to my phone before deleting them again. I have always had a tumultuous relationship with my mother because she was mentally and to a lesser extent, physically abusive to her children, and she's a narcissist who prioritizes herself over everyone and everything. However, I never thought she would stoop so low to cheat on my dad, who is the main breadwinner of the family, with another man, especially because he has a wife and kids. I confronted my mom about the affair, while my dad was at work, and it turned into a screaming match. I poured, not boiling, water on her and she stormed out of the house. She complained about my behavior to my dad, but the reasoning my mom told him was about me having a bad attitude for no practical reason and not the actual reason: her infidelity. I got scolded by my dad, but I kept my mouth sealed because I did not want to tell him about the affair. I pitied him because he works 12+ hours in a hot factory almost every day, and he even went out of his way to cook healthy food for my mom to eat because she's diabetic, tidied their room, and washed the blankets, so that she would come home to a clean house. My mom kept complaining about me to my dad, even though I tried to avoid her after our fight, and a part of me thinks she did this because she wanted my dad to scold me and side with her. Also, she knew I was going to accept the scolding without saying anything because I told her that I was not going to be the one to tell him about the affair. My mom was also furious that I told her oldest sister about her infidelity. I only did this because I'm the closest to her emotionally and geographically on her side of the family, and I needed advice on what to do. Eventually, I had enough of my dad scolding me when I barely even interacted with him and my mom on a daily basis, and he threatened to stop helping me pay for school, $6,000 per year private school, which was the agreement we made in exchange for me to stay in state and help him run his factory. My argument with my dad turned physical, which has rarely happened in the past, and this surprised me because he was the more stable and nurturing parent. At this point, I was angry and had enough of both of their bullshit. I yelled back that he's dumb for fighting with his daughter over a woman who cheated on him. I even showed him all of the photographic evidence that I had, and he still told me that he did not believe me. My dad thinks I photoshopped the screenshots like, dude, I took photos of her phone screen. My mother also denied that it was an affair because according to her, there was never any direct physical contact. Fast forward to today. My parents are still together and they pretend that nothing ever happened. I still barely interact with either of my parents, but when I do, it's cordial and not hostile. I think my parents feel guilty for whatever reason because I randomly found a gift card from Starbucks at my desk and they sent me allowance money, which is unusual for them to do. They can send as much allowance they want because I don't give a flying fuck, and their asses are going straight to the retirement home when they're old and senile. Conclusion. If anyone is experiencing a similar situation, I sympathize with you, and honestly, I'm not opposed to telling the parent who got cheated on, but not all situations are the same. Every family dynamic is different, and I suggest taking that into consideration before making a decision.